Marvel has returned to its roots, but in a style all of its own. The Fantastic Four: First Steps is the MCU's latest gamble, a bold standalone film in a retro-futuristic 1960s, and for someone like me suffering from MCU fatigue, it was a surprising breath of fresh air. This is my full deep dive from production trivia, background, to my sometimes critical review. Let's get into it. Now, the Fantastic Four have long been part of Marvel's core mythos. Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm. Over the years, the property has had multiple cinematic attempts, the 2005 and 7 Tim Story films, and the troubled 2015 reboot. Now, First Steps is the MCU's clean reboot for the team. Now, if you're like me, you might feel that the MCU have become oversaturated. Too many movies, too many interlocking stories, too many spin-offs, and too many TV shows. The beauty here is First Steps makes an early decision. We jump mid-career instead of rehashing the origin stories. You don't need to know every crossover or event to follow this one. Well, maybe a bit of the comic book folklore. One of the boldest decisions is the 1960s retro-futuristic world. Think tech that feels analog but futuristic, bold color palettes, stylized architecture, a bit of Mad Men meets space opera. This gives the film its own identity. It's not just another MCU entry, it's a world you can lean into. The film is directed by Matt Shakman, known for WandaVision, among others. Principal photography would begin in July 2024 at Pinewood Studios in London and on location in England and in Spain. The marketing coined a stylized term called Fantavision. It's not a new technical format per se, but promotional branding flourish that hints at an in-world technology like Reed Richards' inventions and evokes a retro vision of how they might view film and television. The composer for the film was Michael Giancano, and the film's end there's a tribute quote from Jack Kirby. The Earth in this film is designated Earth 828, nodding to Kirby's birth date, August 28th. And of course there's the usual mid-credits tease, a silhouette that suggests Doctor Doom will appear in the future, of course now played by Robert Downey Jr. In addition to Galactus, the film includes nods to the classic Fantastic Four villains like Moleman, Puppet Master, and Diablo in brief cameo appearances. The film also avoids redoing the origin. We start 4 years after their cosmic mission, so the stakes feel immediate. Okay, so now that sets the stage. Let's jump in to what really matters, how the film works, its strengths, its flaws, and why I think it broke through my MCU fatigue. Now, firstly, the tone is ambitious, cosmic stakes wrapped into family drama. But one of my criticisms with many MCU films is that the stakes feel hollow. You know the heroes will win, or death is temporary via the multiverse resets. In First Steps, I never believed though Sue Storm's death subplot for a second, which undermined the emotional resonance. There is a sense that the film is too safe in too many places. Though, to be fair, I did like the family dynamic. Yes, they bicker and sometimes argue, but like any good family, they always find a way to work together. Pedro Pascal here plays Reed Richards, a logical, brilliant mind. I appreciated that this power is in his intellect first, rather than his stretching ability, which I've always found somewhat childish. Pascal brings the character to life perfectly. He's a logical, practical man who has a high IQ but a low EQ. After all, he's a scientist trying to solve problems continuously, and Pascal brings this to life perfectly. As a man tormented about knowing what to do, but sometimes not always wanting to say it out loud. My one gripe with the casting is, well, I'm getting a bit of Pedro fatigue myself. Although that he carries the role well, you just kind of feel that you see Pascal almost in everything these days. But that's no way to judge an individual performance. Vanessa Kirby plays Sue Storm, and for me, she's the complete standout. She balances being a mother, a leader, and the emotional anchor of the team. Kirby shows so many layers to this character, and really adds emotional depth in the way she interacts with the other members, almost acting as the de facto leader of the Fantastic Four. Ebon Moss-Bachrach plays Ben Grimm, or Thing. This is a far more relaxed, easygoing take on this character than some past portrayals. Although I kind of liked it, I do prefer my Thing to be a little bit more, how can I say, aggressive and in conflict with himself. At the end of the day, he's now been turned into this rock-like creature. There is one scene, of course, in the film that portrays him feeling somewhat sad as he glances at a TV screen showing his previous appearance. But we never really sort of go into the character deeper. Maybe that will be for later incarnations. But for me, this take on the Thing is far too happy-go-lucky and easygoing. I did, however, like the inclusion here of Rachel Rosman, a school teacher and Ben's love interest. Some believe she was named as a tribute to Rosalind Rose Goldstein, wife of Fantastic Four co-creator Jack Kirby. Then we have Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm with the Human Torch. He's very serviceable in the role. There are some awkward beats, for example his flirtation with the Silver Surfer, which felt shoehorned. I did, however, like his banter with the Thing, which was strong and fun. They did try to make him more multidimensional than he is in the comic books, but fundamentally, Johnny Storm is always supposed to be the sort of fun character of the four. Now, of course, we get to the character that was hugely controversial, namely the Silver Surfer, played here by Julia Garner. Now, of course, generally in the comic books, the Silver Surfer was portrayed as male. Here, she is female, and I did not mind the gender swap. I liked the emotional angle, loss, and felt that they kept the character sort of true to its origin story. The Silver Surfer has always been a morally complicated character, conflicted between doing the bidding of their boss and overlord, Galactus, and doing what's right to save worlds. And I feel the film sort of captures that. Though I didn't like the sex object flirtation angle between Johnny Storm and the Surfer in this one. And of course, now finally we have the introduction of Galactus, the big bad of the film. Ralph Ineson plays him in this one, but really it's less about the performance and more about the CGI, which I feel they bring to the screen perfectly. Now for me, it's in the visuals where the film truly shines. The retro-futuristic 1960s design is bold, quirky, and visually distinctive. The visual effects, especially space sequences, the design of Galactus, the cosmic visuals, are gorgeous. Color palettes, costume design, lighting all lean into the period flavor, but with a sci-fi twist. It feels less like another blockbuster and more like a stylized greatest hits of the sci-fi era design. Where the film does, however, falter is when it gets into the third act. Complexity piles on, the plot jumps, stakes escalate fast. Some characters feel underused, and as I said earlier, the death resurrection beats lack dramatic weight for me. I never truly felt that the characters were jeopardized. Also, the mid-credits tease of doom feels a little bit predictable given the franchise's tradition. Coming into this film, I was burnt out. I felt almost obligated to keep up with every MCU entry. What I did like about this one was it is a more contained story that doesn't require phase law immersion, a strong singular aesthetic that gives the film its own unique identity, emotional anchors such as Sue being a mother, the family bond that grounded the comic spectacle, solid casting choices and chemistry, and yes, I still have issues at the low stakes in key moments and underdevelopment and some awkward romantic beats, but overall this film surprised me in more good ways than I expected. The Fantastic Four First Steps gets a 7.5 out of 10. Solid, ambitious, and stronger than many past Fantastic Four films, but not perfect. So what did you think of Fantastic Four First Steps? Did you like it as much as me, or got bored halfway through? If you like this video, hit like and subscribe and comment on your score and what would you change, and ring that bell so you don't miss my next review.